Fox News alert for you, a major breakthrough in the 10-day search for Nancy Guthrie. The FBI releasing chilling new surveillance photos and video of what they are calling a potential subject wearing a ski mask and tampering with a Nest camera on the early morning of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. The person appears to be armed with a gun around their waist and carrying a full backpack. Let's go to Alicia Acuna. She is right outside of the home in Tucson, Arizona, with this development. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Dana. And actually, the most recent activity is happening right now at Annie Guthrie's home. We have our crews out there because the Sheriff's Department and FBI have shown up and are walking the streets in Annie Guthrie's neighborhood. That's about a 10-minute drive from where I'm standing. And our team there tells us they are going house to house on Annie Street. 3 detectives spent time in the backyard of a home that is 2 doors down from Annie Guthrie. We also know that they were seen searching through some bushes and some brush there. As I said, she lives about 10 minutes drive from where we're standing. Remember, the sheriff says this is where Nancy Ubered for dinner the night before she disappeared, her son-in-law Tommaso Cioni driving her home that night. The activity at Annie's house comes as the FBI released multiple images and videos from the Nest cam that was taken from Nancy's front door in the early morning hours of Sunday. At 1:47 a.m. last Sunday morning, the sheriff says Nancy Guthrie's door cam disconnected, and then at 2:12, a person is detected. That is what we are seeing here, according to the FBI. Now, the timing in which these images were released by the FBI was impacted by the fact that the Guthrie family told investigators they did not recognize the person in these photos and videos. And Dana, that is according to NBC News. At this point, the Pima County Sheriff's Department is saying that they will still not hold any news conferences or do one-on-ones with the sheriff until there is a major development. Dana?
All right, Alicia, can I ask you a quick question? And there's a lot of new information and people are trying to understand this. How long has this video or photograph been available to law enforcement? Do we know that?
We don't know how long it's been since they've actually been able to see these images, because we learned at the very beginning of the investigation that when that Nest cam was damaged, that they were, and Nancy Guthrie didn't have a subscription to the service, so she didn't have video that was captured. So that data was actually stuck deep in the system, and the companies, the Nest company worked with the FBI to be able to go into the server, to dig down deep into that data and grab it. We don't know at what point the Guthrie family saw it, at what point it was in the hands of the FBI, but from what we understand, once they realized that the Guthrie family didn't recognize this person, that they decided to take it to the public and ask everyone else's help, anyone else's help, to see if they recognized the way this person walked, the way they moved, if there was anything about them that struck them enough to picture somebody else in their head. And if that happened, then they should go to law enforcement.
Okay, Alicia, thank you so much. And Emily, this morning, it felt like there was no new leads, but then this afternoon we get this. And so maybe there's hope that they can find this person and then find Nancy Guthrie.
Reminding me a little bit of the Kohberger case, where it felt like everything was at a dead end, and yet you sort of realized after a while when it exploded that it was just latent. And this underscores that just because we aren't hearing anything doesn't mean that all of those incredible investigators are not working round the clock to locate information. And just to underscore as well, you know, people can throw away and toss away very easily clothes. And we've heard from experts that many seasoned criminals will bring a second pair of clothes on the inside or in the backpack or the like. But I do think the backpack is significant. I can tell you guys what all of your purses and bags look like, and I'm sure you can say the same about mine. You know about your colleagues. The gait and the hand use is so important. I remember being at a bar in Berkeley and seeing a young guy down the way, and because of the way that he moved his hands, I was like, oh, I remembered him from camp when I was 10. And we reconnected. Everything's awesome. You know everything about someone's hand movements when you know them intimately. I was putting sugar in my coffee at the Oakland airport, and a girlfriend I had not seen from high school in 15 years came up and said, I knew it was you when I saw you doing the coffee. So the point here is awareness. It means getting this footage out to the whole world, because it is clear that the instant someone sees that person, that knows that person, they will be able to identify them in an instant equipment. And the more they narrow down that backpack, I think this is too where facial identification, if at any point AI use, software technology that can help pick up continuity. And also keep in mind, while we don't know the timing of this Nest video, we know it's Nest, the top right-hand corner had the logo originally. We don't know the timing, but they do, which means that all they need to do, and I hope there's compliance occurring with businesses and cameras around, is locate and triangulate where this individual went during that window after that. We know there's been some issues with footage and being saved in the Tucson lightings and things of that nature, but at some point they will find a commercial business or a home that picked up either the motorcycle or the method of transportation or that person walking and more. So I think this is so promising.
Jesse, it seems like what a relief that there was the FBI involvement, because they're the ones that know how to do all this stuff very well. Obviously, a local police department could call the FBI and ask for help, but President Trump called early on and said, I want you involved. I know that there were some struggles with the local police department at first, but without the technical expertise of some of the FBI agents who know how to do this stuff, they might not have found it.
Yeah, Cash pulled the video out of the cloud, and Pima hadn't been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at him, and he doesn't look like a professional. He looks relaxed. But not very determined. He looks like he's moving very slowly. Maybe he's familiar with the house, but it doesn't look like this guy's done this before. Kind of go in, you get out, and you have the equipment, because he puts plants on the doorbell camera to obscure it. I would have brought something, if I had cased it properly, maybe tape, maybe a cloth, but he wasn't prepared, and he kind of did what he had to do. And then the way he carries the gun with the holster just draped by his jock, no one carries a gun like that. That seemed goofy, just as goofy as the gloves. Now, if you're going in to do something like this, you want fine motor skills, and he's got these big puffy gloves. I don't know if he's got 2 layers of gloves, but it seems a little haphazard. And he does kind of wander around a little bit, but people are saying that it looks kind of maybe like a local, not some guy that flew in and had targeted Nancy Guthrie from out of town. The close cropped mustache is apparent. The finely manicured eyebrows are very apparent. You can't tell whether he's black, white, Hispanic. I think they'll figure that out later, but the FBI does gait analysis, and you'll be able to tell that. Height, weight. The backpack's kind of key because it looks filled up. So I don't know if he had done a bunch of burglaries earlier in the night and it was filled with valuables, or he had tools to come in to do whatever he was going to do inside Nancy's house. I can't tell what he's got going on in the mouth because there's some reflection with the teeth. Does he have some sort of grill? Does he have a fake tooth? Does he have a light in his mouth? Who knows?
Those are all things that could identify him.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the clothing you can identify through the clothing. It's a huge break. I'm so happy. And it just doesn't seem like the family is being scrutinized as much anymore, although this guy could be an associate of the family. This guy could also be an associate of any of the contractors that had came in, and that's why they're doing all the DNA analysis and going door to door. Could be someone who knew a neighbor, but this is just a great break.
Mm-hmm. It is, and it keeps hope alive, Jessica.
Sure does.
Definitely, and from watching all of the social media posts on Savannah Guthrie's channels, you know how badly she needed to hear something or see something that indicated that there was a chance that her mother was still alive or that they would figure out what happened to her. So extremely thankful for that. To what Jesse said, and I was talking to a friend in law enforcement as well, said it doesn't seem like he's particularly professional. There's opportunity for beads of sweat or spittle to be somewhere in the house because of the orifices that were exposed through the mask. So that's maybe a good thing. But throughout this investigation over the last 9 days, I guess, since we became aware of it, it seems, and I'm obviously no Nancy Drew myself, but they've been investigating things that you would think they'd be looking at days prior. So you know how just a few days ago, because a neighbor called them, they finally found out that there was a camera on top of Nancy Guthrie's house, or that the top of the house had been repainted. Or now they're looking in the back of Annie Guthrie's house, which I would have thought that entire area would have been totally cased by this point. So there seem to be obviously more questions than answers we have at this point. And I'm just very thankful that the first few days where it sounds like local law enforcement and the FBI were not working in concert are over. Very relieved to see that it's all hands on deck for this.
Greg, yesterday you suggested Savannah take a poly.
Yes.
Maybe that is happening. Who knows? That was a great suggestion.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.